Timothy Winters by Charles Causley. Timothy Winters comes to school with eyes as wide as a football pool, ears like bombs and teeth like splinters. A blitz of a boy is Timothy Winters. His belly is white, his neck is dark, and his hair is an exclamation mark. His clothes are enough to scare a crow, and through his breeches the blue winds blow. When his teacher talks, he won't hear a word, and he shoots down dead the arithmetic bird. He licks the pattern off his plate, and he's not even heard of the welfare state. Timothy Winters has bloody feet, and he lives in a house on Suez Street. He sleeps in a sack on the kitchen floor, and they say there aren't boys like him anymore. Old Man Winters likes his beer, and his missus ran off with a bombardier. Grandma sits in the grate with a gin, and Timothy's dosed with an aspirin. The welfare worker lies awake, but the law is as tricky as a 10-foot snake. So Timothy Winters drinks his cup and slowly goes on growing up. At morning prayers, the master helves, for children less fortunate than ourselves. And the loudest response in the room is when Timothy Winters roars, "Amen!" So come one angel, come on 10. Timothy Winters says amen. Amen, 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 amen. Timothy Winters, Lord, amen.
Stony Grey Soil by Patrick Kavanagh. O stony grey soil of Monaghan, the laugh from my love you thieved. You took the gay child of my passion and gave me your clod conceived. You clogged the feet of my boyhood, and I believed that my stumble had the poise and stride of Apollo, and his voice my thick-tongued mumble. You told me the plough was mortal, O green life-conquering plough. Your mandrels strained, your coulter blunted in the smooth leaf field of my brow. You sang on steaming dunghills, a song of cowards' brood. You perfumed my clothes with weasel itch. You fed me on swinish food. You flung a ditch on my vision of beauty, love, and truth. O stony grey soil of Monaghan, you burgled my bank of youth. Lost the long hours of pleasure, all the women that love young men. Oh, can I still stroke the monster's back, or write with unpoisoned pen his name in these lonely verses, or mention the dark fields where the first gay flight of my lyric got caught in a peasant's prayer. Molna Hinsha. Drumroll. Black Shanko. Wherever I turn, I see in the stony grey soil of Monaghan dead loves that were born for me.
Digging by Seamus Heaney. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. My father digging. I look down till his straining rump among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug, the shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mould, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge, through living roots awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it.
The Emigrant, Irish, by Yvonne Boland. Like oil lamps, we put them out the back, off our houses, off our minds. We had lights better than, newer than, and then a time came. This time, and now we need them. Their dread, makeshift example. They would have thrived on our necessities. What they survived, we could not even live. By their lights now, it is time to imagine how they stood there, what they stood with, that their possessions may become our power. Cardboard, iron, their hardships parcelled in them, patience, fortitude, long suffering in the bruise-coloured dusk of the new world. And all the old songs, and nothing to lose.
Janet Waking by John Crow Ransom. Beautifully Janet slept till it was deeply morning. She woke then and thought about her dainty feathered hen to see how it had kept. One kiss she gave her mother Only a small one gave she to her daddy, who would have kissed each curl of his shining baby. No kiss at all for her brother. Old Chucky, she cried, running across the world upon the grass to Chucky's house and listening. But, alas, her Chucky had died. It was a transmogrifying bee came droning down on Chucky's old bald head and sat and put the poison. It scarcely bled, but how exceedingly and purplely did the knot swell with venom and communicate its rigour. Now the poor comb stood up straight, but Chucky did not. So there was Janet kneeling on the wet grass, crying her brown hen, translated far beyond the daughters of men, to rise and walk upon it. And weeping fast as she had breath, Janet implored us, wake her from her sleep, and would not be instructed in how deep was the forgetful kingdom of death.
16 Dead Men by Dora Segerson Shorter. Hark! In the still night, who goes there? 15 dead men. Why do they wait? Hasten, comrade, death is so fair. Now comes their captain through the dim gate. 16 dead men. What on their sword? A nation's honor proud do they bear. What on their bent heads? God's holy word. All of their nation's heart blended in prayer. 16 dead men. What makes their shroud? All of their nation's love wraps them around. Where do their bodies lie, brave and so proud? Under the gallows tree in prison ground. 16 dead men. Where do they go? To join their regiment where Sarsfield leads. Wolftone and Emmet too, well do they know. There shall they bivouac, telling great deeds. 16 dead men. Shall they return? Yea, they shall come again, breath of our breath. They, on our nation's hearth, made old fires burn. Guard her unconquered soul, strong in their death.
The Nose by Ian Crichton Smith. The nose went away by itself in the early morning, while its owner was asleep. It walked along the road, sniffing at everything. It thought, I have a personality of my own. Why should I be attached to a body? I haven't been allowed to flower, so much of me has been wasted. And it felt so wholly free it almost began to dance. The world was so full of sense it had had no time to notice. When it was attached to a face, weeping, being blown, catching all sorts of germs and changing color. But now it was quite at ease, bowling merrily along like a hoop or a wheel, a factory packed with scent. And all would have been well, but that, roundabout evening, having no eyes for guides, it staggered into the path of a mouth, and was gobbled rapidly like a sausage, and chewed by great sour teeth. And that was how it died.
Hummingbird by D.H. Lawrence. I can imagine it's some other world, primeval dumb, far back in the most awful stillness that only gasped and hummed. Hummingbirds raced down the avenues before anything had a soul, while life was just a heave of matter, half inanimate. This little bit chipped off in brilliance and went whizzing through the slow, vast, succulent stems. I believe there were no flowers then, in the world where the hummingbird flashed ahead of creation. I believe he pierced the slow, vegetable veins with his long beak. Probably he was big, as mosses and little lizards, they say, were once big. Probably he was a jabbing, terrifying monster. We look at him through the wrong end of the long telescope of time. Luckily for us,